Welcome to Country Kickback, where you'll hear the latest music from performers you already know and discover new music and artists from around the world. If you have an artist you'd like us to chat with, reach out to the team at countrykickback.com, or you can watch our live videos and more by following us on social media and YouTube. Here is your host, Danni Shaw, with the latest from Country Kickback.
Hello everybody, welcome back for another night. Thank you for sticking with us these last few weeks where we've had shows on different nights, different times. It's been really good. We've had some people from around the world wanting to have chats, so we do have a lot coming at you the next 2 months through the day and the evening. So if you're a shift worker, hopefully we can fit in with your schedule a little bit as well. Let us know where you're watching from and what you've been up to. Have you got any shows coming up this weekend that you're going to head out and see? And let us know what you think of them after the show. Tonight we're going to have a chat to Allan Cameron. He's waiting there for us very patiently, so we might welcome him into the room. Hello.
Hi, Danni. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. And you haven't been on Country Kickback before, and it's really exciting to be able to have you and have a chat. So I know we're here to talk about your current single and what you've got planning, but can we start a little bit further back at your beginning and what made you get into music to start with, and a bit about your career up until now?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. It's not me. I loved music from when I was a young kid, but we were fairly poor with it. And when I was about 16, my grandfather's guitar, my grandfather had passed away when I was younger. That's my mother's father. And he had an old country guitar. And actually, hang on a sec.
If you got it there.
I do still have it. Yeah, this is
wow.
This is it here.
Oh, how beautiful.
It really was an old early 20th
century
century guitar, and it came through other relatives to me, through my sister, and they tried to play guitar and given up, like a lot of people do, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I got it in my hands, and that was it. It was one of those stories where that's who I am. This is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And I played that for about 2 years, and it's it's horrible, and the action's about that high, and I still loved it. And then I begged my mother for about 6 months to lay by a guitar from Cheaper Music in Tamworth. That's where I was from, Tamworth, and I think it was $150 when we had to take 3 months.
Yes.
That was a slightly better Fender guitar, and then I met some local Tamworth musicians, a guy called Gary Adams, who at the time did everything, was a famous musician in Tamworth. He played in all the Tamworth Town Hall bands, backed all the Star Maker acts and people like that. And he was a wonderful, wonderful mentor to me. And then all I ever did was have part-time jobs to support music. Moved down to Sydney for a few years because I couldn't get enough work in Tamworth. Yes. And then moved up to Brisbane. And that's where I got asked to join a band called Rusty Nares Rockettes. Okay. So this is late 80s, I suppose.
Okay.
And that's where I met Keith Urban and all the guys in the band. I'm still in Saltbush 6, Peter Clark and the late bass player Marlon Holden.
Yes.
And we ended up playing together for about 5-6 years and went out with Keith after he won Star Maker.
Yes.
I went in Star Maker myself. Stop me if you want to ask anything.
No, this is great. All the questions that I'm going to ask you, you're answering.
Look, I'd always been writing too. I started writing music right from the moment I got a guitar in my hands, and obviously fairly rudimentary at first. I put out an album called Man Made New in 95, a CD, and I got a little bit of airplay with that. I had a song called Jimmy that got a fair bit of airplay back in those days. And then sort of shifting forward, like everything, being a musician just allows. What was fantastic is it allowed me to see all of Australia
Yes.
and a fair bit of the world.
Yeah.
It's an amazing gift.
Yeah.
Rusty came back from America, sort of, 2010-ish,
Yeah.
and we all had a reunion with the old band. And Keith, I remember we went out and saw Keith at the Entertainment Centre for one of his shows. I think it was the Lady Antebellum tour, which was just an amazing show. Keith's shows are always amazing.
Always incredible, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but Lady Antebellum too. Wow, what a hot band.
Yes, absolutely.
So we went back and played our show in the Valley that night, and Keith came to see us and was able to stay about 10 minutes, I think, before he got so mobbed. It was so generous of him to try.
It was worth a try,
Yeah, so that's part of the story, because we loved playing together, and Rusty went back to the States, and we said we have to play together, and that's how the Saltbush Six band started.
Yes.
So we hooked up with Darcy Crawford to sing in that band to suit the music we were doing, and that put the fire back in my heart to do some more original music myself, just as Allan Cameron,
Yes.
So that's in a nutshell.
No, that's good. You've had such an amazing career, and so many people that you've been around. So you've seen so many different sides of music, and you're bringing all that together for your music. And from when you started and recording and releasing music to how you do it now, the changes must be incredible. Have you enjoyed over the years how it's changed, or do you sort of wish it went back to how it used to be?
No, look, for a start, I think that's a useless thing to worry about. Things have changed. They've changed. They're not going back. Look, I miss some of it, but putting out a CD was a lot of trouble, and without a record company in the old days, it was a lot of money. It's one of the reasons I took a long break from putting out material, because I just wanted to play in bands and make music. And so there's so many pluses now that I was able to put out Big Noise, Bright Lights by myself, put it out through a platform. People like yourself, Danni, of course, supporting independent music is just amazing. Beck Gracie, the country journo. Look, the biggest problem I've had, and this is for any artist now, as the first song I've put out in the streaming age, I basically didn't exist until March 11th. So I couldn't get on any playlists. I couldn't get it into my artist profiles in Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that until actually Apple Music, I think, was 5 days after the release.
Oh, really?
So you can't do any of the special promotion.
No.
And unless, fingers crossed, the song does really well, then people might notice you and put you on their playlists.
Yes, and that's exactly what you need to happen, is people to pop you into their playlist so that that whole algorithm thing happens. And I think now it's taken a while, but I think because of COVID, partly people are starting to learn to do that, because we've got platforms everywhere telling people how to do it. And it's such a different era for music, but it allows you to go to all these different spots that you may not have got to go to before.
Look, I because I've been using social media for years, but only just as contacts and putting up a few things. So I'm still a novice. Novice. I'm a Spanish musician, apparently. So now I'm actually getting a little bit better at it, and because the thing I don't want to seem like is that I'm just trying to sell people something. I want to, honestly, I'm just trying to get the music out there and give people something, when I'm posting, and it's a fine line, obviously, buy my stuff. The other day I had somebody from Florida friend me like my stuff on Instagram and friend me, follow me, and a really supportive guy, who was a part of a community that's all about just supporting each other as independent musicians. That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? Because you couldn't do that before. You couldn't, you go out on the road. You could spend every single day of the year on the road, but you could never get to the places in a year like we can now with all the opportunities. So I think in that way it's nice because, you know, I'm in Tasmania, so when I was growing up learning from music, I was lucky. I had a dad and mum that were musical, and we used to have all this coming home. So for us it was easy, but my friends and the people at school, it wasn't accessed easily. If they didn't come and tour to our town, people didn't really know about it, and you can't tour everywhere in 1 year. So I think it's really special, and I think it's allowed people to enjoy more genres and more styles of music because it's easier accessed and they can see it, and it feels real to be able to see and talk to them. And so I think it's really exciting.
It is, and this something like this, it just gives you direct contact with people, so that they can really chat to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. So, after hearing all that wonderful career and where you've been, you have just released on March 11. You released a new song, Big Noise, Bright Lights, and you tell us about, because you started writing that. So it was sort of at the beginning of COVID almost, wasn't it? In early 2020. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know there's quite a story around this song.
Yeah, there's always a story. Look, we with Sopwith 6, we'd been doing a lot of the festivals, and with any of the musos, you know that when you're doing a live show, you can't just do the album. You need to have a certain flow with the show up and down, and we needed a couple more up-tempo sort of songs. So that's where the idea started. And then we did Tamworth Under the Stars, Toyota Under the Stars at Tamworth 2020 Festival.
Yeah, yes.
And it was an awesome concert, such a good gig. So it's a full stage, big bill, lots of other acts on, and it stormed like crazy. It was just bucketed down, and Tamworth hadn't rained for 5 years, I think it was at that stage. I know that seems weird at the moment. It was
drought breaking. It was this massive excitement in the town. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's raining," and there wasn't one person that was upset. That's
exactly right. So, and it was one of those nights where people still ran up the front when we were playing, and they were getting just soaked, and the lightning was blinding, and really it must have been right above us because the thunder was deafening. And I walked, I just ran off stage with my heart in my mouth and just so pumped. It was, I think I've said to somebody else, that's why we do it. That feeling of the connection with the audience, and that they're loving it and you're loving it. And, you can't play a note wrong. I'm sure I did. But as far as I'm concerned, I didn't.
No, you definitely. It's just that magic. Yeah.
So Marlon Holden, our bass player, and I, Darcy, our Crowfoot, our singer, we always used to get together and do writing sessions. But this one, Marlon and I started, and we had the idea came of Big Drums was the original title, and it was that thumping, which is the start of the song. And like you're at a concert, that's you hear that kick drum now. That's you're going to run up to the front of the stage. It's starting, and we started it. We had like the bones of the song, and then we did Backroad Bash up in Toowoomba, another festival, another great festival. But this is the not so fun part of the story that Marlon, at the end of the night, he just said, "Oh, I've got a bit of I've got pains in my back. I better go and see about that." And this was February, I suppose, and he got checked out. That ended up being cancer, and he was pretty serious. So he was, he was hopeful and started doing treatment straight away. And he was a mountain of a man. So for him to even say he was in pain, you knew he was in a lot of pain. Yeah. And March 2020, of course, something else happened.
Yes. Everyone just shut down.
So COVID hit. I think I actually saw Marlon in person 2 or 3 more times that year. So we chatted on the phone, obviously, all the time. We, because everybody was locked down, but also he was unwell, so he
Yeah.
needed to be really careful. We
Yes.
chatted, and first thing he said to me after that was, "Yeah, we need to say something else with the title because it was saying big drums over and over again." So that's where Big Noise, Bright Lights started to come from.
Yeah.
So I had the bones of the song, fair bit of it recorded. Unfortunately, Marlon lost his battle just at the end of 2020,
Yes.
and that sort of broke our hearts in Saltbush, and we sort of went into hibernation for a few months.
Yeah.
Because we'd known Marlon for 30 something years, because
Wow.
we met when we were 10.
Yeah. That's
5.
right.
So I kept working on the song. Saltbush 6. I'm still in the band. We're working on a second album, and we've got a group of songs that doesn't quite fit with it. And
Yes.
Darcy said to me, "Yeah, put it out yourself." I went, "Oh, all right."
Perfect.
So I finished recording it and ended up finishing it all in my own studio, which is behind me here.
Yeah.
So it's a real sense of achievement for myself that it's all in my own studio, I've played everything, and that I can do it as a bit of a tribute to Marlon. So
Yes.
it
So
means a hell of a
it's
lot to me.
lovely. It does. There's a lot of meaning behind it, and it sounds like in a way it was sort of that extra push to get you out releasing your own music again as well, because you hadn't released anything for a fair while, had you, between songs?
No, I'd like I said, I'd gone a bit quiet, but just playing music, and this, as we all know, this like you setting up tonight. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to get to a finished product. Yeah,
absolutely.
so
it's exciting.
Sorry.
Too. As much as it is a lot of work, but it is a really special journey. Starting to right through. Yeah.
That's the sense of excitement I feel at the moment is amazing. Exactly that. It gave me that motivation. So now, don't stop me. And
you're out there doing it.
There's a lot of songs. Years ago I would have said there's a lot of songs on tape, but obviously on my hard drive on my computer, there's a lot of songs that are on the way to finish.
I still have a lot of tapes in my cupboard. A lot.
Really?
I do, and I still have a tape player that I use.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you my tape of my first album then. I've still got
yes, please.
1,000 copies somewhere.
I would love that. I love the old ways and the old music. And I remember, you used to record to get in the car. You'd make a mixed tape and you'd mix your own tape, and you'd wait 3 seconds before your next song. You put your next song on it so that you could have it all a mixtape for when you went for a drive. It was the best feeling.
Isn't it cool? Yeah. And that people are using it now to it's not quite like records, vinyl, but that it's come back and people are wanting things on tape is amazing to me.
Yeah, I love vinyl too. It does have its own sound, vinyl, a good vinyl. Scott has popped in and he said, great convo, and he's really looking forward to listening to a lot more of your music.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, well, there definitely will be more.
There's definitely more to come. That's really exciting. Have you had a chance? Because I know everybody's sort of just starting to get out and start performing again as we're sort of very cautiously opening up. But have you had a chance to play this song live yet, or is it?
Look, I've done a few gigs around Brisbane.
Yes.
Just with my own band and solo. I've done it a couple of times, and the most fun so far though is Saltbush let me do it with us. That's awesome. A bit weird. We played Groundwater last year, and when I was doing, because I did the video up for the single as well, which I'll get somebody else who knows what they're doing for the next one. But still learning process. So we filmed the gig so I could insert it into the video, and that was a ball, And do you know one of the best feelings was I filled out the band's APRA set list after the gig, so I don't know if people are aware, when you perform at a festival or anything like that, you do an APRA AMCOS form that shows what you've played, and if there's any covers, those people get some money.
That's
and
right,
the same for your own songs, you go into the pool. And that was one of those moments, where you have to write who wrote the song, and that was me and Marlon.
Nice to be able to put your own name right there.
It was, yeah. It's I'm looking forward to the 30 cents or something I'll probably earn from that, but I'm still pretty looking forward to it.
In a few years, you might be able to get a coffee.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, look, because I'm probably, maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but the song charted on the iTunes charts and now on the independent Australian independent artists music charts at 13, which is all on sale. So that's all friends and fans and people who've gone out and supported me because I couldn't get on playlists yet. That's I'm so humbled by that.
It is so beautiful that people are getting behind music so much at the moment, which is lovely. And it's so important for any artist, not, whether you've been at it for a long time, whether you've been releasing music into the streaming world for ages, you still need that support because you can't chart if you don't have it. So it's not about someone that's been there forever or someone that hasn't. It's about the support that they have behind them. And it must feel really nice to know that you've got that behind you and people are there listening.
It's really lovely. It's one of those things that makes sometimes you do in any creative industry, we tend to put so much bad vibes on ourselves about, I'm not good enough, and obviously a lot of the industry is happy to tell you that too. So it's one of the joys of getting a song out there, that's it's not about whether you've played it right or the snare sound is wonderful or whatever. It's people either like the song or they don't like the song.
That's right.
And when they love it and like it, it's so gratifying.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Now, you were telling us that there's more to come. What have you got planned for the rest of 2022? Are you going to get out and do some more shows and release some more music? What are you going to do?
Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, we've got a Saltbush 6 show at the Boyne Valley Country Music Festival.
So that's 5 times fast.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't think it'd be that hard. So that'll be our sort of first gig back, and we've got an old mate of ours, Ian Taylor, who's one of the premier front of house sound engineers in Australia, and he's a great guitarist and bass player, and he's coming in playing bass with us and recording all the new material, and for me as well.
Yes.
So that's in 2 weeks, April 13th. That's going to be mainly Saltbush, but then that's kicking us off in May. We're doing Caboolture Sporting Club or Sports Club up here in Brisbane, and that's a proper Saltbush show, and I'm opening that show because I'm cheap, I imagine, so that saves them.
And you're there anyway, so you may as well.
I know, cheapskates they are. Yeah, no, it's an honour. So I'll do like a half-hour acoustic set, and I'm going to play Big Noise and some of my older songs. Some of them I'm actually doing some new versions for when I do turn this into an album.
Yes.
Later in the year, and then there's a new song that I'm hoping to put out in June, which I'm keeping under wraps just for now.
Yes. There's more coming.
Nobody steals the title.
Yes, very fair.
It probably means nothing. And Tamworth, obviously.
Tamworth, I was going to say, are you heading to Tamworth in April, or are you going to sort of aim for
I'm
Tamworth?
hoping to get down there midweek. I already had some shows on the weekend.
Yes.
Sorry, Tuesday to Thursday, which is when most of it's on anyway. The awards are Wednesday night.
It is on Wednesday. It's going to be different this year, having the awards partway through. It'll be nice for people to go to the awards, not as exhausted as after the 10-day festival.
Yeah. A little bit cooler.
Yes. Yeah. Jacket on. Be lovely.
So that'll be, I hope I'll do some of the free shows like Fan Zone and stuff like that, just to get down and say good day. I was obviously planning more for January next year because I had this whole strategy mapped out in my head at least, and that got thrown out the window like everything does with COVID.
Yeah. I think one thing COVID has definitely taught us is to become to be able to imagine and think about how to do things, because you plan something and it just teaches you to keep pushing through and plan around it. So I think we've become very, very good at that in this industry. Pushing through. Yes.
So I'll do some walk around the streets a bit, play some acoustic shows like the Fan Zone, hopefully, and I'll bug some people to get up and play guitar with them as well. Try and find
That's
some old
perfect.
friends or anybody I don't know yet. And
And you can make, and as you said before, Tamworth was your hometown, so you'll get to go back there and just Does it always feel nice going back to Tamworth for that reason?
it really does. Yeah. And the last couple of years, especially, I did some when I had albums out in the 90s. I did Star Maker, and
Yes.
I had a lot of old friends and family. I've got a lot of relatives that still live up at Nundle and Hanging Rock and around town as well, but mainly out that way. Especially from my dad's family is all up that way. And they all came along, and I'm hoping that because, my name's actually getting thrown about, that some of them will come along, because how you lose track of relatives and friends from when you grew up.
Be lovely.
Yeah, so really special. I love it with Sopwell 6 especially, because when we were driving around town going to venues, and oh guys, we've got to go to the Leeds Club. Maybe I'm being I was going to say a word I probably can't say, but a bit, but I can say, oh, no, turn left. No, don't go that way. That's the long way round. I'm sure they're going, oh God, here he goes again.
It's all local, yeah. Passenger
you're
driver.
right. It's the best feeling. It really is.
It would be lovely. Now, I was going to ask you before, that guitar that you showed us, the one that you first guitar, do you ever just pick that back up and just play that just for that old time feeling?
No, because funnily enough, what I am trying to do is I think I'll get a bit of repair done, because I don't know if you'll be able to see. These are actually, if they're not Bakelite, they're one of the early plastics. So one of the tuning pegs literally perished. It just fell off. So it's a little hard to tune.
A little bit.
I thought about making it into a slide guitar, because you probably can't see, but the action is, but it still makes sound.
It's not necessarily an in tune sound, but it makes a sound.
That's country.
That's right. We'll fix it. It'll be fine. We'll just, work.
I don't have guitars in tune.
I know. I did see you before when you got up. You have a lovely setup there. It must feel lovely being able to work from home and do all of that from home. Big changes.
Yeah, nice.
Now, I know you're new to the streaming world and to Facebook and all the social medias. Where's the best place for people to keep an eye on you, find out where you're playing or when you've got new music? Where's the best place to watch for that?
So I have a website, which is allancameron.com.
Yes.
www, but that's allancameron.com. That has all my gigs that are coming up and links to streaming the song or songs soon and some of my videos. Otherwise, Allan Cameron Music is my handle on all the socials and YouTube. That's my YouTube channel.
Actually, we have that here, which it looks a bit strange when I put it on the screen because it's just a heap of letters. But if you're in the comments at the end, that is actually a link, and you should be able to see where that's going to take you to.
Beautiful, thank you for that.
And Spotify and all the regular places, it's Allan Cameron, and they can search for you and find Big Noise, Bright Lights, and new music as it comes in.
That's correct, and that's another nice feeling, because again, before March 11th, every time I searched for Allan Cameron, there was some guy called Cameron Allan, and John Allan Cameron, who's an Irish, dead Irish singer. No.
It's amazing, isn't it? How many names out there that are the same? It's crazy.
But I'm the only Allan Cameron, so that was good.
Oh, that's good, because
as far as I know, when I search, I'm the only one that comes up. So this is on Spotify and Apple Music anyway. Yes,
it's funny because a lot of people, when you search their names, there's a couple of other singers with exactly the same name. You've really got to watch what you're looking for.
That's right.
It's amazing how many's out there. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope we get to see you in June, or whenever once you've confirmed your date for your next release. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and at the end of the year or next year, hopefully your whole album. That's really exciting after so long.
Really is. Yeah, thank you so much, Danny. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. What day is it? It is Thursday, isn't it? So I need to go back to work where I know what day it is. Next week we have a show. I think we have a lot of shows next week. So we will be back Monday, Tuesday, right through. We've got some days with a couple of shows in the day. So keep your eye out on the page. We will be posting them as they come through with the confirmations. I'll be popping them up. But thank you for joining us again. And thank you, Allan. It's been lovely talking to you. And we'll see you very soon, hopefully.
Wonderful. Thank you, Danni. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed today's program. See you next time with the latest with Country Kickback.